Hey guys, it's Navonod doing a heads up sit and go strategy video. It's 10 NL. Yeah, this is still from the run it up from nothing funds. Having some swings lately, but right around 400. Uh, so we're gonna be discussing some spots, but I picked a regular speed instead of a turbo on purpose because I wanted to get into more spots to discuss specifically on continuation betting. Okay, so I think this is a pretty standard C-bet. The ace XX flops usually are as pre-flop raiser. Plus, I figure I have some backdoor equity in the form of club draw, like a well, yeah, not much beyond that, and overcard to second pair also. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is a card that we can think about barreling, but I think we're going to have to fire a lot of rivers and to try to intentionally go out of your way to take a line that's going to involve a lot of like um, triple barrel bluffing, and just to start off with like no equity really by the time the turn comes off is generally not a good plan. Okay, so this is just the second hand and we'll get kind of into it. Alright, wonderful. It's kind of hoping he would just open fold his button heads up. Alright, no bad mojo. I've been running pretty bad and probably not playing that great. So here I think we could continuation bet, but a couple things. The flop probably hits his range better than it hits our range. He didn't 3-bet, he didn't fold. He's going to have some middling stuff. We do have some equity, but I think this is a hand that's going to play better as a check back. We're going to try to get our ace high to showdown or hope to improve in some way on the turn, which we did. And because he's checked twice, I think we can now value bet. But you know, it's probably close. Like I think he's going to have a lot of wow. Kind of surprised to see him just check fold there. I mean, not too crazy surprised. He could be decent, and it would make a lot of sense to just give up if you have no piece of that. And he's shaping up to. He may be a little bit tight. He's got a fold button for sure. But so yeah, mostly I want to talk about the continuation betting aspects here. And I'm gonna throw some call outs. Okay, so yeah, we've got a. I mean, we've got a call here. It's not what we wanted to see happen, but kind of is what it is. So backdoor flush draw. We're also gonna be dealing with C-bets. So let me just discuss the thought process there too. Big bet. He's making a pretty big bet, which means I don't have to continue very often, but I did catch second pair with a backdoor flush draw and runner broadly draw. So we're definitely going to see the turn. And I think, you know, my read initially here is that he is going to be the kind of player that like C-bets wants and gives up a lot. So now the question is, does it make sense to bet here? I don't really think it does. My first thought is we're ahead most of the time, which we are. But what does our bet really accomplish? I think he would have barreled his draws here, most likely. Um, so I don't know how we get any good action, the kind we want. But by checking here, maybe we induce a lighter call, and maybe we induce some river bluffs. Yeah, I was going to say I would expect that if he's kind of reggy, which he seems like he might be kind of reggy, for this stake, he's probably not going to get to the river that way and then have a hand that he's not either going to bet himself for value, bluff with, or check and call with. I doubt he's check folding much. So I probably could have actually squeezed a little more value out just going a little bit bigger. This is a good opportunity to test his open limping range. So he's going to limp raise. Yeah, not loving the limp raise with my ace queen, but yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm not going to fold it. I think it means call and proceed with caution. Note that if he actually had a value hand there, pre-flop, he would have done a lot better just raising compared to open limping. I mean, if he has aces there, he's going to raise. If he raises, I'm re-raising. I'm definitely going to 3-bet ace queen. If he 4-bets, I'm going to probably at least call. I mean, depending on the bet size, that he would have definitely, and this will usually be the case, that you'll just normally make more money playing hands straightforward. Are we falling for it again here? Okay, I think our C-bet is pretty clear here. We're going to bet a little bit on the big side because there are so many draws that we don't want to miss value from, and also like second pair, like hands like pocket fives and sixes, combo draws. Like a lot of the hands are either going to, it's either going to be our last chance to get value from them with our top pair in case a diamond does come off, because then they're just going to hit the fold button, or it's going to be a situation where they actually do have a diamond, and if we let the diamond get there, we just lose. So continuation betting that flop, I think, seemed pretty clear. So he open limped and called with 8-6 offsuit. That's noteworthy. We can start to get an idea and a feel for his range and what it looks like. I'm not going to go too much into that, though. Okay, c-betting here because we're pretty well at the bottom of our open raising range. We missed. We have no equity, no showdown value, so we're just going to have a lot of incentive to bluff here. And also, we did have some equity in the form of backdoor draws, and I think we can barrel this one because this does put, it's a pretty scary card for him. Now I can definitely rep Jack 10. I can have just a random queen that I backed into. He doesn't know for sure if I would bet a queen or not. And my ace X reps perfectly legitimately. So yeah, I'm happy to just take down the pot, of course. Let's see. Yeah. Pretty clear open raise. Okay, and I think this is again a pretty clear call. Pretty trivial. Most of the time when villain 3-bets and then checks a raggedy flop, my alarm goes off saying that I'm probably about to run into it. Like he's slow playing or trying to get crafty with something like a pair of aces, or he is pot controlling. But probably he's not going to be doing a lot of check folding in the spot, so I don't think that we are going to try to get crafty. I think we're just going to try to get our king high to showdown, and if he's got something like an ace high that we could have barreled off, well, that's the price you pay for being conservative, and there it is. So yeah, I think he played his hand well. He 3-bet pre-flop with the ace queen suited. He checked the ragged flop, which I think makes some sense. I think c-betting it or checking it would have been fine for him, but you know, he seems to be taking the tighter option when options are reasonably close. Okay, so is he going to make more calling or betting mistakes? Not sure. Probably more calling mistakes. It's a pretty wet board. And also, I want to give him a chance to spaz out, do something crazy, and get value from hands before a card like the King of Spades rolls off. I'm going to peel this through once, and probably just have to check fold the river if he bets. Alright. I'm not going to bog down the video by going back and looking at his hands, but remember guys, always do that. I'm not trying to make a video on processing his overall strategy. I'm just looking at continuation betting. So here, this really hits his perceived range probably harder than it hits our perceived range, but I still think because we do have such a strong draw, it makes sense to just go ahead and bet it. And this is a card that I am going to barrel. I'm just going to go ahead and bluff the diamond. I can rep diamonds more easily than he can. Bottom line is that he just shouldn't have a lot of flush draws in his range when he check calls this flop. And now I think we just have to fold. Nah, we could get cute. He donk let into me, which could be him not trying to miss value from like a big flush. I don't think it would be awful to come over the top of him. But clearly folding is standard. 5-4 offsuit is a hand that I think would be okay to fold, okay to call, but I'm going to use it to 3-bet bluff with against a player I think does have a fold button. Okay, now I'm going to continuation bet this flop because this hits my range so hard when I 3-bet, and I'm really just looking at it as a bluff. So I think one of the things we want to do, especially at small stakes and micro stakes, heads up sit and goes, is we want to have a pretty polarized c-bet range, and that means like c-betting super strong value hands and super weak hands. Um, but you know, this would fall into the category of like a mediocre hand, which oftentimes I would just decide to play it like as a showdown value type hand. That time, just because that flop just crushes my range, I thought it might be best to just go ahead and use it as a c-bet bluff, but that was what I was doing. I wasn't trying to protect my hand. I wasn't trying to bet for value. I was just betting, hoping to get him to fold and release his equity. I wanted him to relinquish his equity share of the pot because pretty much anything he has is going to have 2 live cards against my pair. I can easily rep that king, and so I'm, you know, getting him to dump. He's never that far behind, and also I think I had some good opportunities to make double barrel bluffs. So all in all, yeah, I think that was a pretty standard way to play. Let's see. So he check calls the flop. It goes check check on the turn. He bets the river. I think he could be doing this with a 9. I mean, he's usually got me beat here, I think, because a lot of his range is going to be Queen X. There's not a lot of busted draws, so I don't know how he could be bluffing here, but we're getting a pretty good price, and I think we beat enough of the hands that he value bets. Not that one. Yeah, just barely though. I mean, it was close. For sure that's close. I mean, he probably had almost no bluffs in his range, so what it comes down to really there is, do we think villain would have value bet with 9s or like a pocket pair that's smaller than queens? And it's hard to say, so I kind of just erred on the side of pot odds and the fact that my hand might have looked a little bit under-repped. I think whoever gets more aggressive here is just going to take this down most of the time. And I'm going to be willing to invest a couple barrels to try it. Because this should not be, like, just... He limps the button, I check. The ace, king, jack board is one that we both know probably didn't hit the other player. So you kind of... You sometimes have to just go the extra mile to pick those up. And in fact, if he would have raised me, I would have been inclined to do something pretty goofy there. And again here, this just crushes my range. Misses his mostly. It's a hard board to connect with, kind of. And I didn't have any showdown value or any more attractive options. I didn't want to check to induce or anything like that. So just a real easy standard continuation bet bluff, trying to get him to fold. Just when we're betting, we want to be betting in order to help build a pot that we are a favorite to win by showdown or before showdown, or instead of showdown. And when we're betting not for value, we're just betting hoping that our opponent will relinquish their equity share of the pot. And that's pretty much the whole deal. I mean, I think that's the lot of it. I could have tried. No, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty simple with the pair of aces, I guess. Is we're just gonna go for 3 streets of value pretty much always. Heads up, not always, but in a single raise pot, heads up. Most of the time, we're just gonna be betting. So when we're c-betting, we ought to be thinking about what our bet accomplishes, and we ought to be thinking about future streets. Here, I don't think a bet accomplishes anything. He's probably not going to fold ace high, so it's not really an effective bluff. We get him to release his equity when we're ahead. We do get him to drop his 6 out equity. But then we also get probably check raised by his draws some of the time, and sometimes we value own ourselves by betting, not a great card to see roll off and then have him bet. I do kind of think, though, when he checks and I check back, he's going to be betting the turn a ton. So I ought to be calling pretty light. And now I think I can check back, or I can just turn my hand into a bluff. And I think my hand is probably just strong enough to check back. There's not that many hands that I want to bluff off that will in fact fold. So we're just going to check back and win against his air, or lose against the hands that likely we're not going to fold to a bet anyway. Yeah, I think that went out. That worked out very well. I mean, if we bet the flop, he'd probably check raises, and we have to fold.